AllBall TV.
They scared, but I'm not.
They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
Fabian perspective. Let's get right into this. A young superstar who's not even 23 years old. He has stated that Michael Jordan was the only skilled player during his time. And that's the reason we were in awe of him. I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. They say it was tougher back then than it is now. But I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? So that's why when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my God. But now, everybody has skill. I was too young when Michael Jordan first came out. So obviously, I had to go back and watch tapes and watch footage. I thought Jordan was the best player in the game by his third year in the league, just scouring the league. I thought Jordan was ahead of his time. I made a mistake with this guy, Ant-Man. And I said it was impossible for him to be a top 10 shooting guard of all time. That was a mistake because Ray Allen, Reggie Miller are on a lot of people's list of two guards of all time, top two guards of all time. And Ant-Man is leading his team. He's not just a two guard. The fact that he's not fully aware of why Michael Jordan was so great, it's just unfortunate. This is disappointing. I get the hate. I get being young. I get being rebellious. I understand you have something to say. He's very vocal, so I can't be mad at that. Also can't be mad at the fact that when you do speak and you're on a platform like that, like his especially, just super duper popular, you have to be okay with being wrong. I always mention, Kyrie Irving, not wanting Kyrie Irving on my team on the Knicks when it was rumored that him and Kevin Durant wanted to come to my squad. And it was because he was going through growing pains, and I can see it. I can recognize it. And Ant-Man is allowed to grow at 22. How many of us were really going to have these thoughts and opinions, vocalize them and be judged by millions of people? That being said, it's still disappointing. There's an arrogance to just not respecting the game, and we didn't see so many players do this before. They really wouldn't. There was one time where Allen Iverson, first came to the league, he was like, man, I am Michael Jordan. That's not who I'm trying to be. He wanted to be himself. And it's just funny because Iverson ends up just being so beloved, right? After going through his trials and tribulations, the ups and downs with the public, with the media, with everybody in general. He crawled obviously so a lot of these guys can walk. I think Iverson influenced Steph Curry and influenced almost everyone after him. It's not just culture to me. It's the fact that we talk about basketball. He moved from the point guard to the two guard. That's what Steph Curry did, right? So he's highly influential, culturally speaking. Everyone always speaks to that. And he's so in tune with doing the opposite of what he did when he was younger. He bigs up the new era. Iverson is somebody that was bigging up Steph Curry, all these guys. He's so happy and prideful, like we all are, just basketball fans. It's great to see someone be a fan of his game and talk about Kobe the way that he does. He reveres these players. I know people get up in arms about disrespect and what is disrespectful, but ultimately for someone like Ant-Man, it's just silly. Hopefully he has a conversation with someone. I don't know if he has to do it in public, but it's different than when, JJ Redick spoke out of turn about the players from the 50s and 60s that had to go to work every day, work in the supermarket, be plumbers, be mailmen, just to make ends meet. And he spoke very critically about those players and what the competition was like. And Jerry West had to come out, God bless the dead, him and his family. He had to come out and check JJ Redick. I love this so much because it showed you're dealing with competitors. You're dealing with people who, when you're sitting across from them, standing across from them, no matter where you are, they want to compete. They want to beat you. And Jerry West showed you, like, man, whatever you're full of, even in JJ Redick, how he competed to go build up his podcast world, his YouTube fandom, his YouTube following, his public persona, that got him to become the Lakers coach. That there's a competitive nature inside you that you strive to be the best. And Jerry West telling JJ Redick, hey, what did you do to impact the game? What did you do to impact the outcome of a game? He's reminding you that it doesn't matter how old you are, what age we live in. We were trying to win in any era, and we didn't have the availability to the court, to the game that we love. We didn't have that available. It wasn't that there weren't any talented people around, because whoever was talented, I was going at them. So with Ant-Man, I think he doesn't understand, or he probably believes he would have been in the 80s and just going crazy. You know, it is unfortunate, but I think it's a great thing, because when people are honest, it's a learning point, it's a lesson for all of us. If it becomes this huge deal that it has been in the NBA community or basketball community, and it's the reality of what young people feel. So I love that about these young guys just being vocal and making these mistakes and looking crazy. Because Michael Jordan wasn't the only skilled player back then. We can go through the names, Olajuwons of the world, Kevin McHale's, even how Ralph Sampson is the prototype for everybody nowadays that's going to be drafted from now on with Wemby and the French Revolution that's taking place in the NBA. Ralph Sampson is their OG. You know, are there refined versions of what Ralph Sampson did? Of course. That's what Wemby is. But that opportunity doesn't take place without Ralph Sampson existing and the rules changing. That's such a major factor about these guys that nobody really wants to even talk about. They just think the rules changed and it doesn't matter. A lot of things matter. And when you live in an echo chamber, how are you going to learn? It's not going to happen. Thankfully, we have a community here on AllBall TV, Fabian Perspective, where you guys clap back at me if I make a mistake, or even if I'm telling the truth and you just want to make fun of me. But everybody's not doing that. I don't know if Ant-Man is doing that. He's a rich young kid who thinks everything started with their generation. Just like you did. Got to focus on the last part of that as well. Now, everybody has skill. I sound like a broken record all the time. It's just like with football. You have all these more skilled players, but it doesn't necessarily make the sport better. And what are you really competing about? What are you competing at? Now you have way more possessions to compete at who can dribble to their spots and defeat a crowded zone at all times. And I'm okay with that. There are way more skilled players 1 through 5 on the court at all times, or most of the time, than there ever was. If we're choosing with skills, and we're doing so very, very specifically. It was always my issue with who's the most skilled player of all time, and we never talk about defense. They never talk about post-ups. They never talk about going off ball because the intangibles have disappeared, and it's not like it's just Ant-Man's fault. The NBA did that. They decided to take away all those skills. So now, if the professional league, the premier professional league around the world is the NBA for this sport, and they're the ones saying, hey, we don't need these anymore. We just want highlight. We just want highlight, highlight, highlight all day long. It lends itself to Ant-Man's thinking. It's not all his fault. And the numbers, the TV media rights, it's speaking to that. Us jumping on Twitter and complaining about it, it helps them actually. If you want to help Ant-Man understand history, I think that'll happen with time. There's no way he's going to backtrack on this anytime soon unless somebody sits him down and he really watches tape and he really watches footage. I don't even know what he's really interested in. And granted, all he's doing, if he is watching film, is what he's supposed to be doing, and he's watching film about the players he's about to play tomorrow or in September, or October, November, whenever the season comes up. And that's what he sees. He sees that the world got better since Michael Jordan and the Dream Team played. They got more skilled. So he should have every right to defend his generation in utter fashion. He just should. I don't see anything wrong with just being honest. Obviously, I find something wrong with damn near everything he said. Because Kobe played from 96 to 2015, 16. And if we still believe, like, imagine him in this era. That's what we say. You guys are all so super skilled, but you're not that ultra competitive. And Kobe's bet would have been better than Ant-Man. That's the part he's kind of like skipping out on. And we don't think Kobe's better than Mike. So if you're the best two guard out right now, and you're not better than any one of those two guards you just mentioned, I don't believe you have a chance to be on their level. That's the evolution of it. Does he agree? Would he agree? I don't know. He probably thinks he's better than Kevin Durant. One thing we got to focus on is greatness. How to be great, being consistent. Do you really want to get better? Do you really want to be known for being great? And he's already teetering on that. Ant-Man is. He's teetering with greatness, even while being bold. This boldness is what made him Ant-Man. But there's certain tweaks you have to make to really get on everybody's list. Because don't tell me you don't want to do that. I can't wait for like Elephant Man or Mr. Fantastic to speak in 20 years when they talk about Ant-Man's generation and how they suck. Fabian perspective, man. I'm out of here. Fabian! AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.